Namaste, my friends, and welcome to Namaste Today in the Zodiac Weather. My name is Christopher Witecki. I am the Sensei to Sirius Joy. That is what I am, here to help you step into your hearts and live in joy day by day. This is for Thursday's vibration, October 2nd, 2014, and I'm happy to report that Step 9 rules the day. I love Step 9 because I'm a Step 9. In fact, the step on the day you were born is your natural born step. Now, I'm a Step 18, which means I end up being a 9. You may be a Step 27, which means you end up being a 9, or you may be a Step 9. Either way, you like the action. You like when things move and you like to step on the action and get things going. I'm a very impatient person, no matter what I appear to be on screen, let me tell you, because I am ready to act. Today, it is time to act. It is time to take action in your life. You have to put into action what it is you want to manifest. This is part of the 11 steps to Sirius Joy. We don't manifest till Step 11. But in Step 9, we act. We put it into motion. I think this picture is perfect for action because this is what it's like to manifest. You are a surfer. You're going to jump into the waves. You are interacting with the universe, but you are telling the universe what you want through your pedaling and paddling, right? So we are about to jump in. We are about to pedal and paddle. But before we do that, let's first tame our brain and calm down, shall we, with the phrase of the day. I stand ready to act on my heart's behalf. So standing here next to the ocean ready to jump in, I stand ready to act on my heart's behalf. If I'm ready to act on my heart's behalf, I won't do anything wrong. There is no wrong except heart not being fulfilled or heart not being protected. Otherwise, things go very right. So if we stand ready to act on our heart's behalf, it will go in our best intentions. And that to me is the root intention we should plant in the brain. So today is a Step 9 day in the 11 steps of Sirius Joy. This is the first day where you start to see some action. The quantum intention is to act, and by acting, we become what it is we're doing. By fishing, we are a fisherman, right? By drawing, we are an artist. And this is a declaration that's important. It has to do with the way things manifest. They manifest from the heart to the world, to society. And in the world of society, okay, in the consciousness of the ocean needs to know what you are. So we are only something while we're in action, really. And that's why it's kind of like, well, what do you do for a living? Well, what time is it? Right? Like, it's based on what you're doing right now. But in conscious manifestation, that is especially true. So keep in mind of what you don't want to act today, what you don't want in the ocean of interaction with the universe, because it's something in your soup you may not like the taste of. Now, the good news is the moon is still in Capricorn, and the high degrees of Capricorn, and that's our ability to reserve for something better when we hold back for something better. And that's exactly what you want to do, is hold back for the right moment and reserve your emotions for the right moment to take an action. Remember, we're just setting a reaction in the consciousness of the collective consciousness. Everyone is also putting something into the ocean today, so the ocean's going to swell up. So you want to be reserving your emotions and work out any anxieties before you walk out the door. I think if you do the day right and take your action as you need to, you will feel energetic and excited for the future by the time you go to sleep. You might even have trouble going to sleep, to be honest. Now, looking at the ruling chakras, when we take action, baby, it's only one chakra, the root chakra. So our roots are lit up. That does make people more randy. That makes people less patient on the roads. It does cause more accidents. There is more violence. Yes, yes, and yes. And you can amp the red by wearing red, or you can mute the red by wearing green. Actually, green is the opposite of the red color, and green is love. That's a good way to kind of mute it out. The moon is in Capricorn, like I said. So as we take action, we are affirming what we don't want to feel. So a lot of what makes us act today is not feeling a certain way somewhere in your life. And this is, of course, all setting standards, really, for the way we give and receive. All of this today, in the last few days, it's really all to change the balance of things, the order of things, the justice of things, the overall artistry and balance of your life. And really, you know, it's your heart's intentions you're acting on. And then the second intention after that heart's intention is to change how giving and receiving happens on Earth. That might be how much you receive, where you receive, etc. So let's look at planet soup. What is God cooking up there in the skies? Well, the sun is at Step 9 Libra, or 9 degrees Libra. So we are taking action, and we're about to leave the first decan, if you know classic astrology. Mars is at step 12, so that tells me we are pushing in Sagittarius to a new philosophy, one that is untested, most certainly untested, because Saturn goes there this Christmas, so I know it's untested. But who cares? The United States was untested when we were pilgrims and got on those ships, and that's kind of what the energy is right here, I think. Oops, that's the wrong sound effect. That's okay, we'll just keep rolling. Well, this all plays into a grand trine in fire, really, these actions. And Mars is making us move in Libra, all right? So, but Mars himself is in Sagittarius. So this move in Libra is a simultaneous move in the grand trine. So as we move toward this new philosophy of promised land, we are opening up to the unknown. Jupiter's at step 16, and we are reframing our male story with Uranus retrograde at step 14. This is what the scary music was for, was that the Sun is opposing Uranus for a 14-day trial, and today is your first step away from an old ego, an old arrogance, an old way of acting, an old way of didn't work, old fights, old battles. Basically, we're all either stepping out of the old, or if you're, out there in the whole Middle East area of the country, of the world, I should say, excuse me, then you might be doing a lot of the old actions again. And that's really our temptation. Those who are taking new action for their life are stepping out of not just their karma, but the world's issues with this. We haven't had this opportunity in our lifetimes ever since Atlantis, and so it's important. Now, this moving forward does mean that doors are closing. And so you will have to, the best way to act, in some cases action today is allowing a door to close, closing a door, or not reopening a door after it's closed because you're tempted to, because you feel the loss for a second. So the moon in Capricorn does allow you to carve out new emotional territory. And Mercury is now at step 2. So the mind is focused on feelings today, and I think feelings is the center point. I'll talk about that in the Sensei Sunrise. But Mercury is not just focused on feelings, it's actually trining Neptune. What that means is that our minds are very psychic. Our intuition is talking to us. Creator is screaming loudly on the other channel 7, step 7. So it is time to listen to your intuition, particularly when it comes to when to act or what to say, or whether or not you should or should not. So listen to that psychic intuition. Neptune is retrograde, so we're cleaning up karma by taking this action. We're changing our karma by taking these actions, whatever that is. But because Mercury's retrograde, you have to ask God. He doesn't tend to jump in front of us on these particular days. And so this brings us now to the Sensei Sunrise. Now, perhaps you've already faced the wave, I should say, this wave I'm talking about. You know, I had mentioned this before, but you can experience an astrological transit about 36 hours to about 36 hours after when I report it. I report it right in the center to just be of greatest service to everyone. So you might have already been surfing this wave. You might not have been surfing this wave, okay? But let me tell you the best way to prepare to surf. Now, I'm not even a surfer, so I might try that now that I just put my mouth out there, because I really wanted to, but I haven't had the patience with myself to do it. And that's really the difficult thing with action. I think a lot of times people have knee-jerk reactions because they haven't done this little preparation for how to act. And when it comes to preparing for how to act, I think step 27 tells us exactly what a master Aries vibration is 27. That you keep conscious awareness of your feelings, so how I feel, and you keep conscious awareness of your intuition, 7, I sense. And when your feelings and your senses match up, you should act, right? So it's like, this feels like the moment to bring it up with her. This feels like the moment to tell my boss. This feels like the moment to call the company, okay? It feels like the moment. And then you check your intuition, the I sense, the 7. Is it right, God? And usually, I mean, you have to know your own yeses and nos. But if you get a yes or you don't get a no, if God doesn't go like this, which God will when you ask, you know, when I say God, it could be your guides, it could be angels, whoever you're pipeline to at the moment. But the point is that when you feel like it's coming, you wait for your cue from the universe. You'll see it, a sparkle in their teeth. You'll see God cue you. And when you get your cue, by golly, you act. And now here's the thing. If you are focused on your feelings and you are focused on your senses at the same time, then you'll be quite calm. That's the other great advantage of the Master 27-9, is that you will be calm and you will not kind of poppycock it, if you excuse the expression. You won't shoot off too soon. So meditate on your feelings and your intuition, and when I come back, I'll have the daily gong after this. Hello my friends, we're back at the Soul Mart Trading Post, which is, by the way, where you can get spiritual goods in the Soul Garden community. For one, don't forget the Megascope Monthlies are available. Now, these will help you with this decision. I do a lot of backstory leading up to this decision in the Megascope Monthly. Someone who watches the Megascope told me that they end up watching the whole thing the whole way through. And I think that that's totally great, but I think you should stop at certain dates, especially from today's decision. So today's decision is covered in the Megascope Monthly. You can rent or watch immediately at soulmart.me. And if you don't know what a Megascope Monthly is, come on down to soulgarden.tv. I've got under Astro Extra in the Super Blogs, Astro Extra, there are free samples of the Mega Scopes and a scope of what's about to happen. So definitely watch that if you haven't already. Incidentally, you can now rent me, if you want to call it that, for 15-minute increments. I didn't used to do 15-minute readings, but now that software is out and automatically scheduling and seems to be working pretty well, I am now doing 15-minute readings. I would prefer that you had a reading with me before if you do 15, but that's okay. You can get in front of me for 15 minutes. We can pull up any question, and usually you get a solid, thorough Taurus answer. If you need help with anything at soulmart.me, don't hesitate to email us at help@soulmart.me. And that brings us to today's gong. So today we're going to perhaps take some action. Today we're going to move forward onto those seas. We're going to swim out maybe somewhere a little dangerous, right? And if when we do, I wanted to put something into your brain before you do it. And this is a simple thing. What are you afraid of feeling? What are you afraid of feeling? I think a lot of times when people are hesitant to jump or act, it's not that they're afraid of the task. They sit there and they're like, I know it'll work out. They do the logic, but what is it that you are afraid of? What's holding you back? In my experience as a Sensei to Sirius Joy, our feelings are holding us back. Not just our feelings of how we feel now, but we're afraid of how we might feel. In fact, a lot of times that's what holds people back, is I'm afraid I'll feel this way if that happens. I'm afraid I'll feel that way. Well, my friends, if you end up feeling that way, well, there's ways we nurture ourselves to feel differently, but we can always change the way we feel when we get there. We can change the way we feel while we get there, and we can face our fears of feelings before we jump, which means like, well, I'll just do this if I feel that way. I'll just do that if I feel that way. By the way, when you say to yourself what you're going to do if something happens and how you're going to respond to it when it happens, you are protecting your feelings. That is a form of protection. And guess what? It doesn't happen when you protect ahead of time. Why is that? Well, your consciousness knew that. Remember, we are manifesting and broadcasting our reality every day. So if you have to do something today, if you have to jump, take a jump in your life somewhere, and you just are gripped by fear or gripped by emotion, it may be that you're afraid of feeling something, or you're afraid of the feelings now, or you're afraid of the way you might feel. Now, if that's the case, you just want to inner mom yourself or inner papa yourself and work yourself through it. Alrighty? So, before we pass our fears and make our jumps, let's take a look at the moods of each of our brothers and sisters today and where they're making their leap, starting with step 0, the Scorpios. Sunny with a chance of bitchy today for the Scorpios. Well, they have it right. They've got a lot of territory to now fight off. But it's time to leave old patterns and your birth certificate. Your birth circumstances. So your jump today is a jump out of the old karma, but it's also, I think, a jump out of the way you were born. So if you were born poor, or you were born this, or you were born that, I think Scorpios, this jump is jumping them out of that birth circumstance. Step 1, the Leos. Sunny and hypersensitive to everything today. But they are letting go. I'm using the word dismissing because that's the way the royalty would deal with it. You're dismissed. You're dismissing old thinking. You're dismissing old battles with yourself. Step 2, the Cancers. Cloudy and relationship stormy today. But you will take action to leave old emotional patterns. That might be depression. And it probably goes all the way back to childhood, probably. Step 3, the Sag is sunny and super productive today. This is the way I put it. You're leaving one vacation resort for another. But really what you're doing is you're stepping away from a social group, a circle of people you're working with. You're stepping away from a neighborhood to go to a new neighborhood. And I think for a Sag, that's from one party to another. It's a bar crawl for them. Step 4, the Aquarius is cloudy and kind of private today. But you are erasing for good self-limiting beliefs and spyware. So by taking this action, you are erasing self-limiting beliefs and spyware. That's the best aqua way to put it. Step 5, the Geminis, cloudy and rather private today. You are putting to bed today an old love story. So it might have been a love with some sort of part of yourself, a love of something you did, a love of somebody, a love of the color blue, but you're putting it to bed. And I say putting it to bed because love never really dies. It's just put to sleep for a while. When I say a while, maybe 10, 15 lives. Step 6, the Librans. Sunny, chance of anxiety with all this Mars energy going on makes the Librans a little nervous, but they're putting down an old defensive pattern or lack of. I say putting down like putting down a dog, because you are. You're putting down an old ego, an old defensive pattern. You don't need to be defensive like that. It's like the Cold War. You're changing your military. Step 7, the Pisces, sunny and social today. You are going to be jumping into an unfamiliar pond, which actually excites most Pisces, I think. But that means you're leaving a fishbowl for another, FYI. Step 8, the Capricorns, sunny and cool at the moon in their sign. They are firing an old career for something new. You like that? I'm letting you fire them. You're not getting fired? I know how to pump you up. But you are getting rid of some old career for something new. Step 9 is the Aries, sunny and professional. Ending old self-motivation. What you're basically doing today is you're ending old self-motivation for new self-motivation. That's what I realized in meditation when I was meditating on you guys. You guys are, it's like I used to motivate myself by whipping myself or with ice cream or with naked girls. Now I motivate myself with naked girls with ice cream. Whatever, right? But it's new motivation. Step 11, actually step 10. I don't know where I'm going. Taurus, sunny and passionate. Leaving an old bullpen and daily routine. Yeah, and I gotta say, because Tauruses love to work, when they leave a routine, they're also leaving the space. It's like a bullpen, it's like a home, their work is like a home. So it's probably leaving all that behind. Good for you, Bulls. And then the step 11s, the Virgos. Sunny and childlike today, I do believe, with the moon in Capricorn, but you are ending a low pricing structure, and that will end uncertainty. Stop giving it away. You won't feel not confident anymore. It's as simple as what I'm saying to the Virgos. All right, so look at our Lightworker Parade today, Lightwalker Parade. I cannot speak. I can feel Mercury going retrograde here in a couple days. First, Venus Prime Health, Avoiding Cancer, episode number 2. Buy organic groceries. Who would have thought? But you may not know why you should buy organic groceries. Do you know why? You may not. If you haven't taken the time, we took the time to learn for you and present. Our pleasure. Modern Mommies had a hit yesterday talking about super moms on a budget. Now this is good even if you're not a mom on a budget. I mean, if you knew the money that's spent on things that aren't necessary. And Circle of Wisdom also tape where we talked about the birth of new communities. That's right. The idea is, will there be a new society? Will we create a new frontier? Will we get on a spaceship and go to Mars? And don't forget to rent or watch your Megascope. Spend a lot of time putting into these things all the advice you need to make the right decision today. If you are watching us on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. We do appreciate that. And on Facebook, come on down and be our friend at soulgarden.me. And you can now join our mailing list where I email you every night at 3 or 4 a.m. at soulmart.me. And people tend to like those. Now this brings us to Soul Nirvana. The question is, what is the song of the day? I went over and over and over. What should I make today's song? What is really good about taking action, the Sun and Libra and everything else? And I went back to the 80s, of course, to REM. It's the end of the world as we know it. I think that's what you're telling yourself as you get in that water to surf today. It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. That is the mantra of the New Age, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow when we begin to love and trust what we did today. Until then, I love you and live, love, be.